All right, everyone. In this session, we are going to understand how an upgrade to VMware Cloud Foundation 9.0 is actually done in the real-time production environment. Okay, that's the objective of this class. Let's proceed with the class now. Now, let's understand what exactly an upgrade to VMware Cloud Foundation 9.0 depends on. This slide is very important because it explains why every customer's upgrade looks slightly different. Now let's start with the current VMware Cloud Foundation version. First, the upgrade depends on the current VMware Cloud Foundation version, which is running on the customer environment. Let's take an example. If we are on older 5.x release, our upgrade path will be different compared to someone who is running a latest 5.x version. And some environments, like it requires intermediate upgrade, then some environment requires additional validation, and some it takes extra preparation step. So the starting point to the upgrade is very important. So we need to start off with the current VMware Cloud Foundation version details. Then next comes the hardware compatibility. Even if your software is ready and if the underlying hardware is not supported in VCF 9.0, the upgrade cannot proceed. This includes your server models, storage controllers, then the NIC card, then the firmware level of the servers. Okay, so that's why hardware validation is always done before we touch the upgrade. So upgrade depends on hardware compatibility as well. The next dependency is software stack. So here software stack means our vCenter version, existing NSX version, ESXi version, vSAN configuration, any additional VMware or third-party components, VCF upgrades. Okay, so VCF upgrades are tightly integrated. So every component in the stack must be at a supported and compatible version. So we will be verifying that interoperability matrix and all to do this, right? Next is about the important one, Aria automation and Aria operations deployment model. The Aria operations and Aria operation deployment model is a big one because we need to understand our Aria operations already installed in our environment. If installed, what version the customer is running. If next is after verifying the version, we need to ensure is that lifecycle is managed. Lifecycle of Aria operations is managed by an appliance, that is Aria Suite Lifecycle Manager, or it's an standalone. Okay, are there customer integrations or workflows which is there in the Aria automations and Aria operations? Because the upgrade sequence and efforts, like it's completely changed based on how Aria is deployed. Okay, so when you put all of this together, you can clearly see why VCF upgrades are never one size, okay, which fits all the customer requirements. Even upgrade plan is built based on where the customer is today and what hardware they have, what software is running, and how their Aria components are designed. Okay, that's why VMware follows a structured phase end-to-end upgrade approach. Now let's move to the next slide and see how this upgrade journey is broken into different phases. From the last slide, we understand what the upgrade depends on. Now let's look at the overall upgrade journey at a high level. This slide shows the 5 major phases involved in upgrading from VCF 5.x to VCF 9.0. Think of this as the roadmap for the entire upgrade. So let's start with phase 1, assess and validate. The first phase, assess and validate, is a prerequisite. This is where we will study the existing environment, validate the hardware and software compatibility, then revive versions, configurations and dependencies. So nothing is upgraded in this phase. We are only making sure the environment is ready for the upgrade journey. Now let's move to the phase 2, that is upgrade Aria automation and Aria operations. The second phase is upgrading Aria automation and Aria operations. These steps confirm before the core VCF upgrade. Why? Because VCF 9.0 has strict dependencies on the Aria stack, and certain versions must already be in place before we test the core components. Then phase 3, we are going to do the upgrade of VCF management domain and core components. The third phase is upgrading the VCF management domain. This includes STDC manager, NSX, vCenter, ESXi host, and this is the most technical intensive phase and must be done in a very specific order as per the sequence given by VMware. Then phase 4, deploy VCF operations if required. The fourth phase is deploy VCF operations, but only if it is not already present. In VCF 9.0, VCF operations is mandatory, so if the environment does not already have it, then it must be deployed at this stage. Then finally, we are going to finalize and stabilize. This final phase is finalize and stabilize the environment. This includes the post-upgrade task, validation checks, license configuration, network and storage upgrade, ensuring everything is working as expected. This phase confirms that the environment is production ready. So this slide is important because it shows one key message. VCF upgrades are not random. They follow a strict phased sequence. Each phase has a purpose, and skipping or reordering the phases leads to failure. So in the next slide, we'll break each down phases in detail, starting with assessment and prerequisites. Now we are entering into phase 1, assess and revive prerequisite. I want everyone to clearly remember one thing. Like this is the most critical phase of the entire VCF upgrade. Why this phase is critical? In this phase, nothing is upgraded yet. We are not touching ESXi, we are not touching the vCenter, NSX or ARIA components. Instead, we are checking whether the environment is actually ready for an upgrade to VCF 9.0. So skipping this phase equal to upgrade failure. The warning symbol here is very intentional. If this phase is rushed or skipped, pre-checks will fail later. Upgrades will stuck on the middle. Rollbacks becomes very complicated. Then the downtime, get increased in the production support. So most upgrade failures happen because this step was not done properly at the early stages. Now focus on environment readiness. So the focus of step 1 in environment readiness is validate the current versions, hardware compatibility, network configuration, DNS, NTP and certificate validation, password and service accounts, storage and vSAN compatibility. Okay, so the goal is very simple here. Make sure the environment is clean, compliant and ready before upgrading. So from a real world perspective, okay, so normally we'll be engaging a VMware Professional Services to to do this assess and revive. This phase alone can take, like days or even weeks depending on the environment, and that's completely normal. Time spent here saves many hours of troubleshooting later. So in the next few slides, we'll break down what exactly we validate, which tool we use, and common issues found during this phase, and then we'll go deeper and start with validating the existing components. Now let's move deeper into the phase one and start validating the existing components. This step answers a very basic but a critical question. So what exactly is running in the environment today? So first is identify installed components. This includes our VCF components like our SDDC manager, vCenter, NSX, ESXi, ARIA automation, ARIA operation, any optional or add-on components. So we do this because every installed component impacts the upgrade path. Nothing should be assumed in a production environment. Next is verify running versions. Next, to verify the exact version of each component. Okay, not major version, but exact build versions. Why is this very important? Because some versions can be upgraded directly, some require intermediate upgrades, some may not be supported at all in VCF 9.0, because you should aware about the deprecated options in 9.0 before we start the update. Okay, because I'll tell you an example. Let's take an example of this enhanced vCenter option, right? We have an option to link to vCenter, right? That option has been deprecated in VCF 9.2. Then VCLS 9 also, they're saying that it's going to get deprecated in 9.0. There is no host profile in VCF 9.0. This kind of stuffs, like you need to take into consideration when you are planning or doing the validation. Next is revive configuration details. Then we'll revive the configuration details, which includes the current networking setup, how the storage configuration has been done currently, then authentication and identity sources. Like what kind of authentication mechanism we are using? Are you using Active Directory? And how many identity sources we are using? Are we using any workspace one or VMware Identity Manager? Then we need to explore about the certificates, because by default every component will have the self-signed certificate. Some clients, they will be using the certificate from the third party or the enterprise level, which is from the Microsoft. Okay, in that case we need to revive those configuration details carefully. Then any custom integrations which is there in the environment, okay, with another third party tools. Many upgrades fail not because of version issue, but it fails because of unsupported or non-standard configurations. Next is about ensure ARIA automation and ARIA operations are up to date. Finally, we focus specifically on ARIA automation and ARIA operations. If this component exists, they must be on a supported versions. They must be upgrade ready. In VCF 9.0, ARIA and VCF operation have tight dependencies. So this check is absolutely mandatory. So in this slide, it's all about visibility and accuracy. Before upgrading anything, we must know what is installed, we must know what version is running currently, and we must know how it's configured. This gives us a clean baseline for planning the upgrade. Next, we'll look at that planning and preparation of workbook with VMware uses to capture all of this information in a structured way. Okay, so there is a structured approach. That's what like we are going to discuss on this entire class for upgrading our VCF from 5.x to 9.x.